Hello, friends. I'm coming to you live from my couch and wanted to go over solving a system of equations using your graphing calculator. So, I'm looking at example 5 here on in your textbook, and we've got two equations that say 3x squared plus 5x minus 1 equals x squared plus 2x plus 1. So neither one of them are equal to y, but they are equal to each other. So if we set them both equal to y, then we can say that y1 and y2 equal one another. So I've put these into the calculator, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the graph and figure out where the intersection points are, because that's going to be the point that is where the two graphs are equivalent. Okay. Now, before we start, we want to just make sure that all of our stat plots are off. So you're going to go to second stat plot and make sure all of these are off. If not, you're going to go to 4 and turn them off, because otherwise you might get an error. So we're going to look at these two graphs, and it looks like it's a standard 10 by 10 grid. So we'll just go to zoom standard to see that if they both come up. And if they don't both come up, remember, you can just go to window and you can set your window. Now, I've got my graph set up in a split screen here. So I have graph table. You might just have it on full. And once again, that's under mode. And if you have it on full, you're not going to see your table. But I have it listed as graph and table if you'd like to look at it that way. So here's our graph. And this is looking at x and y1. And notice how this is blue. And the graph that's blue is the values that are being shown to you. Now, if you go to trace, and there's my blue, and I can just use my up and down arrows and it'll jump to the red. Okay, so if you want to be looking at the values for red, you can just do that. Now I want to see where they intersect. Now I can use my arrows, my left to right arrows, to sort of scroll down, and that looks about where they intersect, right? At about negative 1.08. Now this y value, remember, in my original equations, there are no y values. So that y value doesn't really have any meaning. It's when x is about negative 1.1 that it looks like the graphs intersect. But I'm just eyeballing that. And the calculator will actually calculate for you what that point of intersection is. So instead of doing it out using the quadratic formula, which is how you could do it, you can just go to second calculate. And what you want is that point of intersection. So you go to 5, and it's asking you question, what is the first curve? Now, the first curve it's giving you is the blue curve, and that's fine. You can use that one. And then you're going to use your, you're just going to hit enter because that's your first curve. And then the calculator will automatically jump to a second curve. If you only have 2 curves, then you're all set. But if you have multiple things that you're graphing, then you want to make sure that you have the curves that you want. Okay, so that's my second curve, and then I hit enter, and then it asks me to guess. Well, my cursor is pretty close to the point, but you notice there are 2 intersection points, so you want to have the cursor near the point that you're trying to guess at. So the cursor is near it, so I'm going to hit enter, and then it tells you what your intersection point is. So it looks like it's about negative 1.18 if you just round to the hundredths place. And again, the y value is irrelevant because there is no y in these 2 quadratics, okay? But the fact of the matter is that there are 2 intersection points. So now we need to find that second intersection point. And we're going to do that. And if you want to pause the video right here and see if you can do it on your own, that would be great. So if you want, go ahead and pause. All right, and just to remind you, we're going to do the first curve and second curve. So we're going to go to second calc, and we're going to calculate the intersection point and first curve, and then just hit enter for second curve. But now I need to move my cursor up a little bit towards that other intersection point. That's your guess. And so your other value is about 0.43. 0.43 is your second value. Okay. And those are the values that they give you down here. Negative 1.8 and 0.43. Those are your 2 approximate values. So go ahead and give a go to part B on your own and see if you can get those. All right. Happy calculating, everybody.